Hey everybody, welcome to this latest episode of the Zenith Fit podcast. Now today we're going to have a very special podcast because we have a client of Zenith Fit who's doing extremely well at the moment, and I thought I'd ask her on to share her journey, share her kind of experience so far on the program, and just ask a few questions in regards to how it's going, her history with health and fitness, and all that kind of jazz. So Sarah, welcome to the podcast. I hope you've had a
Hello.
lovely day.
Not bad. Waiting for Christmas.
Yeah, I hope you're not feeling too nervous about this because you know it's going to
No,
be
not too bad.
grilling. No, all good. So we might as well just dive straight into it. First things first. Tell us about your your past experience with health and fitness prior to coming to Zenith Fit. Your relationship with exercise, with food, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's been a really weird journey. So I was one of those people that, going back like 20 years when I was at university, I never did any formal exercise. I drank and ate whatever I wanted. I then started my PhD and thought, oh, I can't do this anymore. So I started to do a bit more exercise and I enjoyed it, but nothing really structured. And then I hit my 40s and realized there was a big mind shift. I think a lot of women my age went from being, oh, I want to be skinny. There was all this nonsense around thigh gaps and
Yeah,
ridiculous body image things that we're meant to aspire to. And I sort of there was a few classes run at my gym that focused on weights and sort of things that traditionally women weren't encouraged to do because of all the myths around getting bulky and all that sort of nonsense.
yep,
But I tried them and I absolutely loved them. It was just so much better than the cardio that I had been doing. So prior to that, it was like, let's do as much cardio as possible because that's what you need to burn calories. That's how I achieve these ridiculous body images.
yeah.
And so it was an introduction to sort of a weights class that I thought, actually, this is a different way of doing it.
So what drove you to want to try the weights then from just the cardio? Was there anything in particular?
And boredom. I think,
Yeah,
I found though I tried different things. Like over the years, I've tried Taibo as a sort of a kickboxing, which I really enjoyed. A friend had taken me to Zumba, and I've not really enjoyed that. It was a little bit too. It felt a bit fussy and a bit jiggly. I didn't
yeah,
enjoy that. And then I used to really love circuit training because I liked the sort of short, sharp transitions. And I'd done a little bit of that earlier, but not really kept up with it. And then it was introduced in my gym, just this pump class. And so it took away the mystery of how do I use weights,
yeah.
because that is a big thing as well, going into a gym and
I
knowing
think
what
a
to
lot
pick
of
up.
people. Sorry to interrupt you. I think a lot of people that will be on the same boat, the same page as
Mhm.
you, right there. To be honest, because boredom can creep into it, especially when you see people go to the gym and they just go on the cross trainer for an hour,
Yeah.
and that's all they do at 6 days a week or whatever. So it's about having that bit of variety, and that's where classes can be really cool, can be really good
Mm.
because, like you said, like a pump class there can really help introduce you into the weight training side of stuff. And then there's a different feeling to when you train with weights. It's more of a productive kind of feeling rather than just doing it to tick a box. And that's really interesting to hear, actually.
Yeah, I got more of a high as well post. So, there was all this, the exercise world, we've talked about it. There's always things, this sort of like mythology around, oh, do this and you're afterburn and
Yeah,
everything's made so complicated. But what really got me was I thought, I know I look forward to doing these classes. At first, it was the communal nature of it as well.
yeah,
There were nice people. You felt like, because I've signed up, I'm going to go. That scheduling was really important for me to make sure it was in the diary. That
yeah,
really helped. And then as I got more confident, then I tried a personal trainer at my gym, which was really helpful and broke down some of the barriers with using the heavier bits of kit, like a
yeah,
hack squat and things like that, which I just wouldn't have gone near. And then I found that actually what I needed was sort of service that you offer, which is that I've got the motivation, but I need the push in the right direction. And I sometimes need pushing to take that next step, I suppose is what I'm saying. And that's where the program's been really useful to me.
yeah. That was going to be the next kind of question. So, what was it that brought you to Zenith Fit?
It was chatting to a colleague who had used you. So we'd talk about fitness a lot, and I'd tried this personal trainer. I'd enjoyed it, but there was some of the aspects that were coming out of the nutrition side that I was being offered just seemed a bit bro sciencey to me. They
Okay,
were
yeah,
suggesting a massive crackdown on calories, and and I mean, I'm a scientist, so I was thinking this doesn't sound right. This sounds very, it's very all or nothing. Like if you don't do it this way, it won't work. And
Yeah.
I thought I'm not happy with this. I mean, in the past, I had struggled with things like sort of eating disorders where I'd got quite controlling about what I ate, and I thought I don't want to go down that road again.
100%.
With someone almost encouraging me to do that.
Yeah, and that's the problem. So PTs aren't nutritionists at the end of the day, and when it's kind of accepted that PTs can give good nutritional advice, but it's kind of just generic. If you do what, as I say, you'll get the results, but there's a lot more nuance to it than that. And I'd like to think the program I provide does kind of cater to that nuance in terms of some people have got a worse relationship with food than others. Generally, we don't need to drop our calories mega low, just to see some kind of changes. It's about fueling the body correctly and giving it the right sorts of food. And again, that's really interesting you say that, because PTs are very good at instructing exercise, etc. But when it comes to nutrition, it's a different kettle of fish. And I'm sure there'll be nutritionists, if there's any listening to this now, completely saying, yeah, it's a load of absolute nonsense that PTs give nutritionists advice. But it's so how do you feel your relationship with food has changed then since being on the program? If it's changed.
A lot better. I mean, it's really interesting. I sort of, I mean, I've got really into that. I love prepping. I mean, that really taps into my sort of,
Yeah.
I feel like I can tick it off for the week. I'm not someone that needs to eat something different every day for lunch. I prefer to just be able to get something out of the fridge, in my sort of busy day at school. So just by prepping and sort of thinking about macros rather than, it sort of really simplifies it. Like I've got my calories that I want to reach, I've got my macros that I want to hit, but then the freedoms within it. There's none of this, like I said, on one day you're going to do this, and then on another day you're going to do
Yeah.
that. And I've known friends that have done Slimming World, and it's just seemed like absolute bonkers. If you eat as many eggs as you like, that's fine, and it's all sort of
Yeah.
real,
It's a funny
bonkers.
one, Slimmer World, because for some people it works. It's a minority of people. That's the unfortunate thing. And again, it promotes healthier food options, but it's not necessarily giving people the full picture in terms of, like, if you can eat unlimited pasta. I mean, you can definitely not lose weight by eating unlimited pasta. So things like that. So the problem with it. You hit the nail on the head earlier when you said that the PT was overcomplicating things in terms of nutrition, or it was just my way or no other way. And that's the fitness industry in general. It's either one way or it doesn't work at all, according to some people. But there is a lot more kind of caveats to it. And again, it's something I hope you've kind of got from the program, is that everyone needs things adjusting now and again. Life is going to go on no matter what, so we need to figure out a way to maneuver around obstacles, etc. So that's really good. In terms of your time on the program, what's been your kind of biggest victories, you would say, from being on?
I think the pushing, not being afraid of protein, because
Yeah,
again, that's a big thing with women particularly. Like, somehow we're all going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger if we lift a few
yeah,
weights and eat an extra chicken breast. And it's been really transformational with by making those tweaks to my diet, how much happier I am because I'm not thinking about the next meal. Whereas
yeah,
before, when the macros and the dieting was done differently or was very all or nothing, you were obsessing about every calorie, or whereas I don't do that because your macros, the way it's been arranged, and we've tried different things. You've played with the program, and I'm just so happy with it at the moment. I'm never hungry. I'm able to train. I'm not tired. I don't feel like I'm dieting. So I'd say that's a really good thing.
yeah. That's huge, because it takes away a lot of stress, doesn't it? As well, food is
It does.
stressful. I've had eating issues in the past, and like you said, you've struggled with it in the past. And there's a time when it was all I was thinking about. But if you can start to slowly rebuild your relationship with it, it lifts a massive weight off your shoulders. And that's one element of stress. You work in education, pretty stressful career. One element of stress that you haven't got now is thinking
Yeah.
about the food, which obviously helps in terms of your career and other aspects of life. So yeah, it's a monumental part. And it's probably the biggest part of the program, is the nutritional side of stuff and coaching people through that, more than the exercise stuff per se. So what's been the most challenging part of your whole health and fitness journey before Zenith Fit, in Zenith Fit? What is the one kind of internal battle that you've constantly got?
I think it's a perfectionist to motivation. So Christmas is always really difficult. It's perfect doing this at this point because there's that feeling that I love to schedule my workouts. I love to plan my food.
Hmm.
And whilst there is the flexibility around it, I very much will go, I can't do leg day on a Monday, which is when I planned it, or I can do leg day, but this bit of equipment's being used. And so I have to work very hard to then not go, well, that's pointless then doing that because I
Yeah,
can't do it exactly as it's written to plan. And I think one of the key messages is coming out of the gym feeling like, do you know what? I've really worked hard, regardless of whether I've done everything exactly the same as I did it last time, but I've worked really hard. Or I'm trying to put, as we've discussed, elements of Hyrox into my workout. So like I'm thinking, oh, I can't get that machine. I'll do 3 minutes on the ski erg instead and see if I can really push using
yeah,
that bit of equipment, and not being afraid to do that for fear of like somehow I'm breaking this magical calculation. Because again, exercise is very open to bro science. You have to do
yes.
your splits in this order or else the magic formula won't work. And that I think is a big thing, sort of enjoying it and going, I've got enough knowledge to know, well, actually I can't do that one, I'll do this exercise instead.
Yeah, and again, there'll be a lot of people listening to this that will go into the gym and they'll have a kind of plan in place. But if there's one of the pieces of machinery is being used by someone else, panic mode sets in. You think, "What am I going to do? Shit, what can I go on?" And then they're more likely to just think, "Oh, I'll just leave," kind of thing. And it's just overcoming little kind of internal battles with yourself constantly. And I've spoken about it before. I don't know if you were on one of the calls I did about comparing your brain as a separate entity to you yourself. So your brain is constantly looking for the easiest route, for the simplest option. And if you can override that, then you can think logically about making better choices with food and in the gym. So it's very interesting what you're saying there in terms of that's the biggest, still a bit of an internal battle. And I think it will be for a while. Over Christmas, I still struggle now in terms of I'm a control freak, I'll admit that. And if I don't have a set routine, it's hard work to kind of come to terms with that, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I'm going away over Christmas now and I won't be able to work out as much. Getting to terms with that is a bit of an internal battle, but it's something we'll deal with. Life moves on and it's not going to make or break you moving forward. So that's good.
Yeah.
So, what would you say in terms of the accountability side of the program? How has that helped, all the kind of support systems in place?
I've really enjoyed the sort of the light touch, like the check-in mornings, just almost like the I'm still here. How is everything? And
Yeah,
99% it's fine. And like occasionally I've had a wobble where I've just had a really crap day, and I just feel like nothing's changing and and it's having someone then to bounce back at you and go, well, actually, look at the facts. It's because you've always got that devil on your shoulder that will try and pick on the one terrible thing,
yeah,
or you had a cake at break time, and it's like, if I'm in my logical brain, I think, well, yeah, that's so, you
yeah.
know. But when you everyone's tired and you're feeling stressed, and it can be that thing to beat yourself up with. So having that check in the morning, having those little mental health check forms, just filling that in, almost the act of filling it in can
That's
make you
exactly what it
focus.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
focus on your
more so than the form
reality.
itself. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the act of doing it, and it's when I message you in the mornings, say probably 4 out of 7 days. It's just the act of doing it to make people think, yeah, you know what, I'm going to have a good day today because
yeah,
Mark is kind of watching over my shoulder, even though I'm not physically watching over your shoulder. I am kind of doing it. So yeah, that's cool in terms of how, because I don't always see it from a client's perspective. I only see it from my perspective, and it's always good to see if that is something that clients do respond to, and it does help.
I think as well it's that little sharing your wins, because that I know, talking to my colleague who you work with, and sometimes it's too easy to go, oh well, I've not had any this week.
Yeah,
But actually the fact that I was really proud of last week, because despite it being, I was just knackered, I couldn't be bothered, but I managed to work out every day because I
yeah.
just thought, I'm going to do, even if it's a 20-minute hit off of the app, I'm just going to do that, not one of my plan, because I can mentally cope with that. And then you look back and you go, well, actually, that's X hours of workouts that every day I could have gone, no, I'm not going to do it because it's not my plan. It's, I'm going off plan as such.
That's great because again, most people don't give themselves enough credit for even when they do good things, and it's positive reinforcement, isn't it? So again, a lot of the program is based around mindset and mentality because that's the battle I've had throughout my career, throughout my life. Sorry, not my career, and it's if we can overcome any kind of mental blocks, roadblocks along the way, it's a massive, massive help in terms of your health and fitness in general as well, which the kind of whole package comes together. So that's nice to hear. So if there's someone listening to this now who was sitting on the fence about starting online coaching or worrying about messaging me and thinking it's not for them, what would you say to them?
I'd
Put
say,
you on the spot there.
yeah, no, I would say you've got absolutely nothing to lose. I mean, I think when I was recommended and I was coming out of like an injury thinking, oh, well, I don't know whether I'll be able to do as much exercise. And well, I don't really want to lose that much weight. And I was but then when I spoke to you, that was what really thought, oh, actually, this will work because
Mm-hmm.
you don't have one type of client. You know, when we're on those community calls, everyone's got different focus. They're all working towards different aims. And when we see the community on the Facebook group, you know, there's people that love walking, there's people that like to go to the gym, there's people sharing recipes. It's all just a feeling of, you know, it's a nice space. And I think that's what's great is you get out of it what you put in, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever your goals are, I think that should be your focus, and you will support them with that. And I think
Yeah.
that's the voice that we need to hear. It's an external person to help you on those goals.
Well, the reason I do that is that I feel a lot of health and fitness is polarized. So, you know, you're looking into doing high rock stuff now.
Yeah,
I think high rocks is a phenomenal way of training. However, it's quite polarizing. So there'll be in the high rocks world that people will be like, oh, this is the only way. There's no other way. And it's the same with CrossFit. It's the same with maybe long distance running. There's almost a little bit too much focus. And I think everyone, I want to give everyone the experience of just enjoying being fitter, healthier, and having more energy. And I think everyone can do that, which is why I don't pigeonhole it into one specific area. And that's why there's so many different characters in the program. You know, we've got all sorts of people in there who are all trying to achieve the same thing. And ultimately, I think we're all after the same thing, which is to have more energy, be healthier, live as long as we can with the best quality of life and be more confident, you know? And if we
and
can
I
do all
think
those things,
doing something for ourselves, because for
yeah,
me it was very much an investment in me. You
yeah.
know, it's everybody can do things for everybody else and families and your job, and then actually think, well, I'm investing. I've got this time where my plan that takes some of my thinking space out of what do I do in the gym? How do I, you
Yeah.
know,
Has that been
arrange my
something you've been
training?
hesitant to do before? Look after, like,
Yes,
take self care kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. Because you're afraid of, oh, how am I going to fit it in? How am I, you know? So when I had a personal trainer, I enjoyed it, but they would always be ringing me up at the last minute, going, oh, could you switch it to half an hour later? Could you do it
Hmm.
to? Could you come earlier? Could you come? And it was just, I couldn't. It felt like that was more of a headache. So
Yeah.
having something where the plan is there, I always work out in the evening, but then it's within when I can do it. So if I have a late evening, I can fit it in later and I can juggle it round. So it's the flexibility while still having the benefit of an expert putting together a program for you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. A lot of people are generally worried, I think, about not having that one-to-one interaction in a gym or that. But the benefits of online coaching is vast. You know, in terms of the flexibility, you still get the accountability. I would say you get even more touch points than you would from a trainer. I know in the past when I used to be a trainer, I'd see someone once a week and I wouldn't see them again until the week after. And what they do in between was kind of on their prerogative. You know, it was up to them to do the work. Whereas now every single day I can pester people if they need pestering. I can lay off some people if they want me to stand back a bit, and I thoroughly enjoy it more in terms of I feel I can help people fully round the clock from a more kind of holistic approach, and that's why I mean, like, you're doing absolutely phenomenally well on the program because you take everything on board. You do the level of accountability that we need. You get everything done, and yeah, and you get your check-ins on time, and that's all good. That's all I can ask, you know.
Just got to lift heavier.
I'll lift some heavy weights and do some high rocks next year.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, perfect. Well, that's pretty much everything, I think. I'm going to let you crack on with your day. I know you're a very busy person, but thank you very much for that. I'm sure a lot of people will empathise with where you've been and where you are currently now. So yeah, thank you very much, Sarah. Take care, and I'll speak to you
Thank
later.
you. Thank you. Bye.